Hello, guys. So, good morning or good day, or whenever you're watching this. This is a real quick video I wanted to just post as quick as possible. I'm not yet done with what I'm creating, so I just wanted to put this out there as fast as I could. And this is because while I was learning this, while I tried to learn this on my own, I figured that it was difficult to find any resources on this out there especially on YouTube. So I wanted to do this and place it on YouTube so people could also learn from this. And what am I talking about? So you would already see it in the title, server actions in Next.js. So what I just did really quickly was um, try to use a server action like signing up a user in using Next.js. Like Next.js is a full stack application where you have your server side and your client side, and I'm using Next 14. So when I'm talking about resources I couldn't find, I was talking about Next 14 precisely. So this is the sign up page I have, and this is the only page in the application. You see it's in the um, route. What I'll just do quickly is just demo what I have here and show you the way I did it. So I'm not going to write any code, I'll just show you what's there and share a link to this in my GitHub. All right, so if you've used Next.js before, you know that when you have Next.js file or application running in your system, this is the way the file system looks like. You have a Next node modus public src. If you choose to have an src folder, so you open this up and then you find your app folder inside of your src. Now if you're using app folder, you would know that when you create any file or folder inside of your app folder, and you pass a page into it, it's going to become a page in the Next.js application. And for every component you create inside of the app router, it's going to be a server side component or a server component. Let me not say server side component. So it's a server component. So when you open your app, you have your pages inside of it. So the root page is this, and I have some things inside. And what do we have here? We have um, the application that we just saw in the browser. Okay, so what do we have here? So first of all, you can see that I have a use client declaration at top, and this is because this page is supposed to be, or this component is supposed to be a server component, but the fact that I'm going to use a form inside of it, I have to make it a client component, right? That's how Next.js 14 works. So I'm using use form states. I've not really gotten the hang of use form status because I tried to use it here and it hasn't given me the required result I'm searching for. But I'll look that up as soon as I can. But use form state, I've used it here, and this is what I'm about to show you. So I'm also importing create user because this is a server action. I'm returning this from where I have created it inside of the application, and this is where we have the server actions running. So I want to create a user. I create this guy. So first of all, let me just go and show us where this is coming from inside of lib folder, and this is actions. But before I show us what is happening in this actions file, I'm going to show us how we have connected to MongoDB using Next.js. So I have made sure I have installed package.json. I did not install package.json. I made sure I've installed MongoDB and Mongoose, right, in my Next.js application. So I'm going to connect to my MongoDB using Mongoose. Right, so I'm going. This is very simple connection to MongoDB. Is very simple. This is the simplest way to do it. I have my connection string inside of my env file. And if you know how to use MongoDB, you know that this is the way to go about it. When you want to connect to your DB, you just go ahead and click on connect, and you would get the connection string inside of this place. So you just go here and connect this and pass in your password here and use that as your connection string using your EME file. So currently in my collection is empty, so I'm going to create a list of users for my application. So this is connection string, and I made sure I'm exporting this connection, because whenever you're calling a server action, you're going to connect your DB for that to run. And I also created a schema for my model for my users. So I'm going to have first name, last name, email, gender, phone number, date, password, and I'll have timestamps for the time created and the updated time. And I'm also going to export this user model. Now I'm going to not always assume that I'm creating a new model. I'm going to also check first of all if there's already a users model inside a users collection inside of my DB. If not, I create a new one, and using this code right here, and I'll export user model so I could use it to do what I want to do in my DB. So now let's go into actions. So this is real simple code we have right here. So I'm importing what I just created. Now, because we are in a new folder outside of the app router or app folder, this component by default should be a client component, right? But I want to write server actions inside of it, so I have to declare that I'm using server component. So this component becomes a server. I don't know I'm calling it the component, but this file is now a server is running on the server now basically. So if I log anything here, you wouldn't see it in the browser, you see it in Node.js environment, so the server side. Okay, so now what I have here also, I've imported use user model I just created and the DB connection. Then this is the function you just saw right now inside of the file, um, the sign up file I just showed you now in my page.js. And I'm not using previous state for now because I haven't really figured out what this is, but trust me, I think it has a great use. um, Now I looked at this from a documentation, so I'll eventually understand what this are all for, but the ones I have used, you could go ahead to try it out too and use and then get to understand it too. So this form data is coming from this page that we have here. I have said that we are going to use a form for the form actions, right? And I'll show you how to use it. So the information we'll be using to create this user is going to come in from a form, and you can call it here form data. Okay, and from that form data we are going to create a data object that we'll use to create the user. So we're going to map this to whatever we are getting from the form data. So this information should be available for us from this form data for us to use. We'll find out how we can get this information available to be used here. And what I come eventually to do is now try to connect my DB first, and then when this is done, I'm going to instantiate a new user and save that user. Then when that's done, we get user created, and if it fails, we get fail to create user. So this is just simple code, right? Should teach us how to use this. Let's go back to the page and see what's inside of it. So this is the most basic things that we have here. Every other thing here isn't really um, um, the we can run this code without running any other thing we have here. So just focus on this line here, um, this one. So use form states, and this is going to return taking two arguments, the function from the actions. This is server actions, and an object. This is an object that we can update. This is going to be like a state that we can do things with to get information on on the form state. So this returns us an array of two items. So this is the state, which usually is this. This reminds me of the use reducer hook. And this is the action, that is this create user. Okay, so moving on, like I said, we can skip this. This is basically just used to um, update this state we have here, so we can use it to do something in the application. For now, it's not yet running, but this is the part that's most important. Now, the form is where we have all our input tags, and we have our form action inside of a prop. Would I call it a prop? Let's just call it an attribute, really a property on this form that is going to take this form action. So it's called action. You pass in the form action that is coming from the form state inside of it, and really every other thing inside of the input, inside of the form, are inputs and buttons. So the most important thing here, for every input that you want to pass to the DB, you have to pass a name property. All right, this name property um, is what you now target right inside of your actions to map to whatever you want to use it for in your DB. So this is name, this email, gender, and all these things. Like you see here, this is what you are trying to get to map to this. So we get from the form data, first name, last name, and all these things. So this is very important. It's name property. um, then you have to have a button, and type will be submit, right? So I was trying to use the pending um, status from the form status to do certain things, right? But it is not yet running. I'm not sure why it's not running. Maybe because it runs so fast, but I would confirm why. I'll just look at it and see what it has inside of it. But I needed to make this video real quick. I might do a follow-up video to make sure to explain these things for every other person that is going to watch. So let me quickly run this. So I've really explained every other thing here. This is all you need for this to run. So like I said, my DB is empty, and this is my application, right? So I'm just going to, what's this fetch for? Okay, this is webpack, right? So I'm just going to sign up a new user. So this is something saved in my browser. I'll just use a new email, favor, gender, mail, dates. I don't want to go far back, so I'll probably just say last month. This one last month. And password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Confirm password. So there's nothing really to check it. So just to show you how this works, so I click on sign up, and as fast as possible you have this running, right? Preview, nothing. But let's go ahead and check our DB and see that we have signed up calling equals with email favor. So let's go ahead and do a refresh here. I think MongoDB needs to do a loading state for that white screen we have there. So this is what the user we just created, because calling favor email, right? Email and this information. So that's it, guys. I'm going to create another video to make sure that we really understand everything happening here. So that's it. Thank you. Bye.